now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled Rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben.
on Spoiled Rotten. And today, we're doing our revisit series only because this doesn't fall within the calendar year, so technically we're revisiting something.
Yeah.
But we're here with My Adventures with Superman Season 2. A show that I didn't love the first time we did it, the Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you know what? Everyone loves this show. There's a lot of people I respect that think this is great, and I had my theories as to why. But yeah, I feel like I was really hard on it the first time around.
That's fair. And I can't remember what I rated season 1, but I have a lot of fun and good things to say about season 2. So I'm happy about this for sure.
Yeah, I was just trying to set up the fact that I'm like, I liked this season better. I don't know if it actually got better or if I was just like, all right, I already know what I'm in for.
The funny thing is, when I listen to other people talk about it, they're like, "Oh, season 2 is worse than 1." I'm like, "Wow, I'm really way off the meta and the zeitgeist." But
I will say I think this is I hadn't seen people say that, but I can see if you really liked season 1, this is a departure from season 1 in terms of, I don't mean in quality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that it's just darker.
Yes.
There's no more silly Jimmy Olsen. He's not like depressed or anything, but he's certainly not as wacky and cartoonish as he was in season 1.
very much so.
And in general, I find that they always had kind of darker villains than the tone of the show in general, and I think the tone of the show met the villains better this season.
Yeah, the animation style. I think it helps that the ultimate villain of this show, for this season, is not a human, and therefore the animation around it is a lot better, in my opinion, and like lets me take it seriously. I'm obviously talking about Brainiac, but it is the idea of like, yeah, that design's freaking cool. That's really, really awesome. Even the uniform he gets,
At the end.
everyone else to wear. I'm like, yeah, that looks freaking badass. That's really, really cool. And then when we get to the human stuff, it is the Japanese meets American animation style that I'm like, yeah, the eyes are too big. I can't take it seriously.
You are right. That's exactly what's happening. But I feel like it is still just more anime than American. Like, I'm acknowledging, yes, the two styles are definitely present. I'm not saying it's just strictly anime, but I do find that this season and the first season go slightly more in favor of anime.
Yes.
It's like is maybe a hurdle for me.
Yeah, and for me too. But to me, it's just like I famously do not like anime.
Yeah.
All right. Aside from Dragon Ball Z, I just don't care about anime. But so when you have something like this, where it is, let's say 65% anime styling, and then you have the rest diluted with American kind of animation, with what I'm a little bit more used to with Batman animated series and Justice League and all that kind of stuff, I'm just like, yeah, this is more my speed. I like this. I like the diluted nature of both those animation styles coming together. But the fundamental flaw that I found, and I don't think I was able to articulate it in season 1, but in this, I'm just like, yeah, it's the eyes. It's the way they draw the human's eyes. It's just too anime for me. So having Brainiac worked really well.
He doesn't have any eyes, so there's that.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll jump in here, I guess. This season, as you've heard us kind of hint at, is, for the most part, Primus Brainiac comes to Earth and wants to take over. This is all set while something we like, which is Superman and Lois aren't getting along, and Lois wants to break up with him.
Yeah.
And he calls his cousin. He makes a choice to send the beacon out and find his cousin Kara, and yeah, I appreciate that element and the changes they make to what we're used to for Kara Zor-El, and well, it's even in who her parents are, which I don't think the show is telling me they changed her parents, but obviously she's under the impression that someone else is her parent in this. So yeah, I appreciated all of that, and for a lot of it, they actually are giving Jimmy and Lois good things to do, but then I feel like that kind of just goes by the wayside by the end of it.
Yeah.
But
I think that's
for a lot of the season, I'm like, hey, like, all right, they're doing a good job of making sure everyone feels important to this story.
Yeah. I think that's the flaw about like the majority of superhero content, or like when you get to the finale, it's gotta be like, all right, we're punching stuff now, we're doing superhero stuff, as opposed to like really following along the human characters and how they're really incorporated in. I think this season does a very good job of keeping us with the human characters like Jimmy and Lois all the way up until like episode 9, and then episode 9's like, yeah, we're doing Brainiac battle stuff.
Yeah, that I think that's what I mean. Versus a show like Superman and Lois, where the whole point is that you need both of them. You need the hero and the humans, and so I guess that kind of spoils things. Where you're like, they know how to do it, and I would even argue that the Arrowverse did a good job of being like, well, yeah, because they all have their various men in the chair teams that the humans just are a part of it a lot more throughout. Different structure though, so I can't really be like, see, so if they could do that, like obviously for the Arrowverse, those seasons were like 20 plus episodes or so, so that's different. But I just mean there are recent examples of people being able to tell those stories and not all of the sudden sideline the humans, unless they do a good job of being like, that guy, he got shot or he got frozen and now we have to save them, and that's how you take them out of they didn't really do that here, so it was just kind of like, I was having a good time, and then you kind of were like, they can't do anything here. We're done with that story.
There's no fridging going on in this whatsoever, but it is the flaw of the final episode where it's like, yeah, okay, we see what's going on right now. This is to be expected. And I think one of the biggest things that you highlight with Superman and Lois, as well as the Arrowverse, I think the live action nature of it lends more to the human characters having that enmeshment within the hero's story.
Visually, they can only really do what the superheroes are doing.
Exactly. But in this, where it's like, it's animation, we get to do literally whatever we want, and we have voice actors, the budget's way more controlled and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, why wouldn't you have this massive blowout finale of a fight? And I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. But it does fall into the issue of like, the finale is going to be all about Superman. And rarely Kara. About anything else. And Kara, yes.
But yeah, the first portion of this, I would say like the first 3 episodes are this weird, like I thought they were going somewhere else with it, with like Sam Lane moving in with Clark and Jimmy.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm fine to do this if this is what you want to do, but then by the time he's like, I'm gonna just message Kara, they're kind of like, we don't care about that storyline anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you didn't have enough episodes for this season or something? Like, it's just this weird thing where there's a very clear divide between Amanda and Sam now. And Lois is like, yeah, people are out to kill my dad. And Superman's like, yeah, I overheard that, I know. And so then their plan is he's going to live with Clark and Jimmy. Well, Sam's kind of like, yeah, and I don't like that you date my daughter. I don't like you. And you're like, yeah, this seems like it's just going to exacerbate that, since he'll be constantly aware of how often Clark's not around.
Yeah.
I understand why not just put him in the safest place ever, which is where Superman lives, but I feel like in practice, that's just, well, he doesn't really live there because he's out doing Superman stuff all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's one of the things about, like, I agree the first 3 episodes are kind of like, to me, where are they going? But I thought it was a very clever arc that they had with Sam being in that apartment to be like, oh, all of a sudden his identity is a secret again, and it's important because in this, I think the cool thing is to the people that he really cares about, they know his secret.
Mm-hmm.
But in this situation where it's like, oh no, we got to hide it again, and we're not exactly good at doing that, and we forgot how to do that, I think is a quite interesting thing. But like you said, yeah, halfway through, it's just like, oh, we stopped writing Sam's character until like basically episode 8, in which case it's just like, oh, right, that was set up.
Yeah, like I agree that's a good concept, but since it didn't really matter, like,
Yeah,
I don't. I know there's a moment where he's like, I know what you're up to, or whatever, and they're like, oh no, am I gonna have to like trick him into not thinking I'm Superman? But then it's like, that's not what he thinks at all, and also, this doesn't really come up in any meaningful way ever again.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the big thing there is that Sam has a closer-ish relationship with Clark, and then just kind of really gets in Lois's head about like, yeah, just, I know that you also like Superman. He's a loser, but like, or he's never gonna care about you the way he should because he's off doing other things. But then you also have this loser like Clark that you actually are dating, and it's like, and that gets in her head. In addition to, there's an episode where he does like, I shouldn't say that first. Basically, the season starts with him wanting to take her on a like Valentine's Day thing where whatever he has planned out, I don't remember the specifics of it, but it was basically like get her favorite food, be in their favorite spot in the city. And everyone's in his head like, that's gonna suck. Like, she's not gonna go. You're not gonna get to Valentine's Day number 2 if you do that. And I'm like, oh, how is everyone so far? Like, there's people like Kat Grant where I'm like, obviously she doesn't know them, and so it doesn't matter. But I feel like even Jimmy is kind of like, it's kind of not that good. And I'm like, don't you know them? I feel like you know that would be fine.
Yeah, I do have a weird thing about Valentine's Day, and like, I think that's why I really like this episode, because I'm just like, I've stopped telling people what I plan to do, because I always get in my head, and I'm just like, yep, this is the exact reason why. It's just like, oh, don't you think she deserves better than this? And I'm like, no, man, that's our relationship.
But that's the thing. I agree that it's on you, but Jimmy's different.
He is different.
Like, in that group, like, he's in that inner circle, that circle of trust where he knows the secret, she knows the secret. It's he's more than just a coworker, or even more than just like a friend. Like, they have this bond that I feel like
I do agree with you on that.
You know him a bit more than just like a passing friend being like, that's not what I would do.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you on that, and I'm just like, okay, I also look at it from the perspective of, is Jimmy advocating for Lois to have something more? You know what I mean? And it's just like, and because he's not Lois, he's just like, oh, maybe you should love bomb her and do the flower thing and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, maybe it was, from that good intention standpoint, but yeah, totally misses the mark of like, you're right. He should have known the both of them and the relationship that they have well enough to be like, yeah, that's actually a great plan.
You're right that everyone else, like, that's just classic TV. I wasn't like, what? This would never happen. It was just more, a lot of season 1 is making sure you understand the bond between the 3 of them.
Yes.
And so it just felt weird to come off of that and have him be so off the mark. Or if he is not off the mark, if that's the show's way of being like, no, he's right, Lois wouldn't have liked that, because they don't really get to follow through on it.
Yep.
Then it's like, I don't know, like, maybe they should have broken up. It seems like he doesn't know her.
Yeah.
After all this time, it just left too many questions for me about what they think is happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically keep having to postpone things as Lois is worried about her dad and Superman is worried about how he's coming off to Lois, but also getting this new information of, oh, I have a chance to not be the only Kryptonian.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. And so oh yeah, and sorry, and Vicky Vale, who is a funny like presence of just constantly scooping Perry White, and he's like, can we please just scoop her for once? She gives Lois a job offer. She's basically like, oh, you like out hustled me, I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they both have these things they want to share but have to keep postponing having that conversation, and then they kind of separately make those decisions on their own. Mm-hmm. With Clark basically pressing the button and sending out a signal to get Kara to come see him. And that culminates in like the episode that I thought was, out of the early batch, the strongest, which is when he goes on that Bachelor show, which I was like, why would they just assume Superman's going to show up? That's silly.
Yeah.
And then he comes and he's like, sorry. I'm like, you never got an invite. What do you mean, sorry, I'm late? They actively tell you, well, we just assume he'll show up. And I'm like, so there was no conversation. I don't know why you told me that. I could have just assumed if he said sorry I was late that you already had the conversation.
I really enjoyed the fact that the reason why they're like, why do you assume he'll show up, is like, oh, because like basically it's for charity, and he was like, shit, I would do that. Yeah, but it's really funny to me.
But it's just like, come on. Anyway, he's on this Bachelor, like, not even blind date. It's like an auction to go on a date with the 4 panelists. And while this is happening, Cat Grant begs to go with Lois to this event, even though she's supposed to be going with Clark. And the whole time you think that Cat's gonna crack the case and be like, oh, Clark is Superman, but she just keeps going like, oh no, I know Superman's dating Silver St. Cloud, because you see the way they connected, and all of that stuff I found fun, while Jimmy is essentially taking Kara on a date around the city because she doesn't know anything. Like it feels similar to like the Wonder Woman Steve Trevor stuff of like, well, you don't know pizza? Oh, you don't know this? But also it's a better deployment of Jimmy Olsen's just good to be around. Of him being the ambassador for Earth, even though he's just saying, I'm the leader. He got a promotion in between seasons or something. Yeah. And so he's talking about how he's the head of the planet, whatever. And she's thinking, oh, you're the head of Earth. Okay, I'll be around you, but also just likes being around him. And obviously he likes being around her. And I like how that ended with her basically finally getting to Superman during the thing, but he's trying to save people, and she gets pissed off and realizes like, oh, humans made you shit. I don't appreciate this. She's like, don't get me wrong, I get that there's temptations here, and there was a good camera movement to Jimmy, but you can't possibly care what these idiots think. They're humans. We're Kryptonians. And I was like, okay, I'm in on this issue, because it didn't feel like they're like, oh, they just don't know each other, they're gonna fight. It really felt like, no, they philosophically are going to have to fight as well. This is not like Batman v Superman, where it's like, oh, they just need to have a conversation. It's like, actually, the more they talk, the probably more they'll be at odds with each other. So this felt like a very organic and good conflict to insert there.
Yeah. When I got to episode 5, which is the episode you're talking about right now, I was genuinely like perked up in my chair and my couch, and I was like, oh, they're doing something very different with this, with Kara and all this kind of stuff. Like the moment she's like mad that he's empathetic and like cares about people, I'm just like, oh, this is wildly cool. Like, I haven't seen this before.
That he told her to wait so he could deal with humans. That she's like, what? No.
Yeah.
This cannot stand. I thought that was very interesting, and it remains good throughout the season. The way they're bouncing off of each other, because she's giving him opportunities to fully explore what he's capable of. only because some of it's even new to her. Like, wait, why are you able to do that? But then there's moments where she's like, well, we're powered by the sun, so there's that. But he's obviously helping her see that she's not as cut off to emotion as she thinks. Obviously, there's like brainwashing going on, we find out later, but in general, I think she still baseline would think, well, I'm above caring about the people's planet, until he's like showing her like, well, you kept these souvenirs, so that obviously means something to you. Like, and the way she gets excited talking about Thanagar, like, oh, you're gonna love this, and he's like, yeah, so you do care about you care about these places, obviously. That's okay. That's good.
Yeah, it's I like that aspect that they're like, unlike Fallout, they're genuinely rubbing off on each other in that way, because he's learning more about his own powers, where he comes from, all that kind of stuff, and then she's learning about empathy, and because of this whole thing, I'm just like, oh, this is really well done. This is really, really well done.
And kind of the gut punch for Clark being, oh well, yeah, my aunt and uncle, and he says their names. I never remember her parents' names in the comic. And then she's like, "What? No, Prime is Brainiac. That's my guy. That's my dad."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you talking about? What's going on here?" Because at first I thought that the Brainiac robot would open up and it would be like Zod or something. I'm like, oh, they're making it that Zod is her dad. That's interesting. But they're like, no, they were just doing a Brainiac thing, which they say in the show. He was basically the software that was running not Metropolis, Krypton. He was basically
Krypton,
he was running Krypton, and it's kind of like a, what do you call it, Jarvis to Vision situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Where
AI becoming, getting a body.
I know that's not a clean analog, because they make a point of being like, I'm not Jarvis. But in broad strokes, that's the idea, is that he was looking for a different body, so he keep taking over, and his big thing is, I'm going to use Superman's body. He was disappointed in Kara and how she was susceptible to caring about these lower beings. Yeah.
But his background info on Superman was flawed, because he cared way more than Kara did. So it's like, it's pretty funny. But I did like that element, because once Brainiac was revealed to have all those elements, I'm like, oh, they're genuinely doing something different than the origin story that I know about Krypton and all that kind of stuff, right? I'm like, this is really, really cool. Like, for the first 3 episodes, I'm like, where are they going with this? And once they got to 5 or 6, I'm just like, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I think 5
this is cool.
I would say that's their turning point with the season. I feel like people are like, okay, they know what they're doing. But it is also, for me, them completely abandoning whatever the fuck they were doing with Sam Lane.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing we didn't bring up is that Lex Luthor's in this. I'm assuming he was in season 1. I just didn't remember. But
yeah,
he's important in this season.
But,
he's important in the season if he was in season 1, because that was mostly the Amazo stuff, and this is Lex Luthor really stepping into his own. There's like a Lex Corp by the end of this season. So him and Deathstroke kind of, or sorry, Agent Slade, whatever.
No, we're calling him Deathstroke because Deathstroke is a cool name. Yeah, they're
working with Amanda Waller
of each other.
they really play up the sibling rivalry of it, but when they keep going, Mommy doesn't need you anymore, but they both get to say it to each other at different points of the season. But then it's the two of them at the end of it, and I'm like, they do I know they're not brothers, but I'm like, they do kind of look similar, like the way they're drawn and everything, that I'm like,
it's the hair.
Visual metaphor works for me.
It works very, very well, because I'm just like, I feel in many, many ways, the energy that this Lex has is very. It reminds me of the Jesse Eisenberg thing.
Yeah, and he was friends with Deathstroke in those movies, so it all works.
But toned down quite a bit and made more kid friendly and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just
I don't
like,
find him as interesting, but yes, he has the same energy.
yeah, he has the same energy. But I'm just like, oh, to me, a lot of this is like, oh, this is how Alex becomes Lex, because like
Well,
that's
because he almost says Alex, and then he goes, "No, Lex Luthor."
yeah, because
He stops
he was referring to himself as Alex at some point. He's like, and then now like in episode 2, he just goes like, "No, I'm Lex." I'm like, all
Yeah,
right.
when he's introducing himself
Cool.
to Amanda Waller.
Yep. It's reminds me of the Office episode where Andy comes back from anger management. He's like, "I'm Drew now." Yeah, I'm not calling you that.
Yeah, another instance of Jim being wild. But people are like, but I like him because he looks nice. I'm like, he's kind of just an asshole.
Jim is a bit of an asshole. He is.
My favorite moment, almost not ever in that series, but one of my favorite moments is when they're looking at the daycares and the guys kind of like, maybe you guys just aren't as charming as you think you are. And I'm like, yes, yes. But yeah, this is they basically shift because well, I guess Deathstroke was always a bad guy, but they kind of used the original Rogues Gallery of like Livewire and all those people and they shift and they become in episodes like 6, 7 or whatever an integral. Like there's an episode called Olsen's 11, which is great. It's what I was talking about in terms of having the humans have something to do where they need to take a spaceship to go get Superman from Kara, and they have to trust Livewire, her significant other. I can't remember if they're married or if they're just girlfriends. But,
I can't remember.
But a whole group that you'll remember if you saw season 1. The whole group of bad guys. I know they're all named and real villains in the comics, but Livewire's the one that sticks out to me. And one, I love heist movies. I like the Ocean's movies. The George Clooney ones. I do not care for the original.
The OG one is just weird.
I don't care for that one. But I do like the Ocean's movies in general. And it didn't feel like an Ocean's movie, but I was like, hey, it's all coming together. That's nice. And they were able to hide some parts from you and reveal them in ways that didn't make you go like, oh, well, that was dumb. Like, I thought the reveal of them being like, well, yeah, we were always just going to steal the stuff, but then we overheard you and we were like, oh, why don't we just help? I was like, that's nice. The good guys are rubbing off on people.
Yep.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I should say that this is all being driven for Lois by the fact that in the Bachelor episode, she flat out dumps Superman. Yeah. With the thing of being like, I'm never going to be good enough for you. I don't know why we're even bothering with this. You're not human. I am human. You're not going to be interested in with me. Especially because Kat Grant's putting that in her head of like, well, like he couldn't date a normal person, obviously. Like he's going to have to date someone who's extraordinary or whatever. So she's got this thing of, well, I don't want him to die with that being our last memory together. And Jimmy the whole time is like, well, we don't know that Kara's bad, and like, just very slowly teasing out that she's like, did you date her? And it's funny on the other end of that of Superman waking up and realizing that Kara has pictures of Jimmy's like, Jimmy, my Jimmy, you met Jimmy. And he's just like, wait a minute, do you like him? And I was like, oh, this is fun, like cousin stuff as well. Teasing each other. Yeah, I just really liked that stretch of this season of them. The stakes being the stuff that was left unsaid, or just these mistakes you wish you could take back.
Yeah.
Pushing you with. So for Kara, it's like, oh, at some point she realizes she destroyed a bunch of planets. The show kind of makes it seem like, oh, maybe it was Brainiac, but it's like, no. She was mind wiped, but she's the one destroying. So like, the people she cared about saw her destroying them.
Yes.
So that's not technically a mistake, but it is something she wishes she could take back. Something she wishes she could change. On a smaller level, there's Jimmy desperately trying to change people's view of Kara. Lois wanting to change that she don't. And I do feel like Superman's just kind of like, I can change you, Kara. Like you don't have to be like this. And
Mm-hmm.
he is trying to shut out the Lois Lane of it all. Like, which they're going through memories, and he's like, I don't want to think about this part. It makes it seem like I thought the first season was just pure cartoonish nonsense, which maybe I said during our episode, but this felt like an evolution, and it just became a lot more mature. So while I still firmly believe this is a kid's show, it just got a lot more mature and easier for me to engage with.
Well, I mean, I think there's a legitimate debate on whether or not this is a kid's show versus this is just something that millennials like us could watch with our kids. You know what I mean?
That would make
in
it
the
a
sense
kid's show.
where fair, but I just feel like the writing in it is actually, like we said at the beginning, much darker, and there's a lot more going on here. Like that episode 6 where you find out that Kara was like, yeah, I love these places, but having that seeing that mural on the wall of like the mural on the wall that's like her depicting her destroying all these places and then seeing these places in ruins after shattering the
like
image.
she goes back to actually see it. Like it's not just memories for her. At one point she legitimately goes back to see what happened.
It to me, I'm just like, oh, this is wild stuff now at this point, because I'm just like, this is cool.
Say it's kids stuff because
fair enough.
Like I think about shows like Gargoyles or even Batman the Animated Series. There are, if you sit with those shows, like I remember rewatching Batman Animated, like just the first episode, being like, how did I even sit through this as a kid? Like it's not a bunch of fun things happening. It is just treated like you need to just stick with this and see what happens. And I would say Gargoyles even more than that.
Yes, Gargoyles, I remember
look
being
cool because they're not human, but I would say there's a bigger ask of your attention in that, and with darker themes than Batman. So I don't know that just the presence of it not being cartoonish makes it not for kids. It's just some kids shows want to go for laughs, and other kids shows are just like, here are some themes we want you to deal with.
Sure.
And hopefully you go with us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna defer to you on that, given that you're the parent of the both of us, and I'm just a guy that is scared of responsibility.
But I do think it's. I think this show's a kid show just because of how they choose to depict certain things, and the elements that some of it for me is like, oh, that's like my interactions with anime, like Sailor Moon and stuff. I'm like, yeah, like they do. Showing someone eat something like that feels like you're trying to tap into that and engage with children on a certain level. Big eyes and just visuals that may keep them engaged. Yeah,
and you're definitely right about that in the sense where I think what this is definitely doing, as well as Gargoyles, as well as Batman Animated Series, it was bridging that gap specifically between like the tweens, so to speak, going into the early teenage years. And I think it does that quite well, because it is using those tropes, like you said, from an animation standpoint that's very much like kid friendly and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time introducing much more adult themes into it. And I think that's a good bridging point if the kids want to genuinely engage into it. Now, the great thing is about this, you can see the progress really quick, but like you're right in the sense where back in the day when I was watching Batman Animated Series, I was in it for Batman, and the reason why is because I'm like, the way it was released that I watched it was never in continuity with itself, so it was just like it felt like random reruns that I would watch a lot, and that was, I don't know why those things stick out to me, but it's the idea of like, okay, in the age of streaming specifically, people can be like, oh, this is episode 2, this is episode 3, and it can carry on with that. But,
yeah, I feel like once DVDs came out, I was like, wait, they like cared about the order of this shit? Okay.
yeah.
Like you, I was just like, it's just another Batman thing. It doesn't, even, because in that show, you'd be like, wait, where's Robin? Wasn't he here just like last episode? What's going on?
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man actually is serialized, which
Yes.
surprised me. Obviously, X-Men to an extent, if you can get it in the right order, is serialized. But yeah, there were just some shows that were just like, hey man, it's just another episode. Just go with it.
Yeah, that's the thing that really pissed me off when I watched these shows as a kid. I'm just like, to be continued. I'm like, no! I don't know how it's going to end! What are you talking
I'll
about?
never see this again.
That's very much the case. My TV time was very restricted as a kid. So I'm just like, no. And then watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is just way, way better. You get to see everything sequentially.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on the. It was a different time when I didn't I would watch shows and I'd be like, I guess this is the logical next episode, but I didn't have any concept of like, what's it called, syndication and just airing shit to get people to watch your station. I didn't know about that. I was just like, I think this just keeps happening, or I've seen this one already. Oh yeah, I had no concept of like reruns really. I was just like, oh okay, it's just one I've seen already.
100%, because 100% there was definitely episodes where I'm like, I've seen that episode multiple times, and I know I've been watching consistently all this week, like during March break. You would watch like, oh, I've been watching every single, but none of it's in continuity, and it always says to be continued. I'm like, what the hell is this? As an adult, you find out, oh, they're playing the best hits to keep you viewing, and I'm like, oh, damn it, whatever.
But yeah, so those are kind of the stakes for a bit. Is the good guys have done some things or want to change some things, and the walls are kind of closing in, and they do. I like this moment. I know where I'm not moving this plot forward, but I like the moment when it's just Kara and Kal-El, and he's kind of like, oh, I'll help you move the asteroids, because she's like, oh, we can't fly through this. And his whole, for a couple of episodes, it feels like he's been like, oh, helmet please. And she's like, right, helmet. I'm like, oh, what is she gonna do to him? Why? I thought they were getting along. The show like genuinely tricked me, where I was like, why is she gonna do something devious to him? But she just goes out there without her helmet, and she's like, do you understand what we are? We don't need these helmets. Like, you can just take this off. Or the moment where they're like throwing things at each other, she's like, don't hold back. And I'm like, that is a big deal, because one thing I like about Superman is that the strength is actually, in a lot of cases, how he restrains himself.
Yes.
The fact that he isn't just letting loose, and that he can play and let loose in this moment must be somewhat healing for him. I would imagine. Like, he's very clear up front in the season of how lonely he is. Yeah,
and I think that you're right to look at it from that perspective, because you look at the way he was raised, and there was specifically a flashback where you have Pa Kent, where he's like, all right, I think you can throw a little bit softer next time too, and you see like his soft throw like sends him flying back with the catch, and I'm just like, yeah, that's the environment that he was raised in. His strength is suppression of and control and restraint and all that kind of stuff, and it's very interesting to watch. And this is the cartoon moment where it's like Cars, the way she's laughing at him. I'm less like, yeah, it's cartoon, it's a kid's show and all that kind of stuff, but it's still good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that he had these moments of being able to be, because it's not like it solved everything for him that he found another Kryptonian.
Yes,
in many ways complicated things, but he had these moments. Obviously she could have fun too, because it's very clear that the reason she likes being on those other planets is because she's away from that lunatic brainiac and can just be with other people and have fun.
Yep.
So yeah, there's just that sadness there of like, oh, this is a brief moment in time where they can actually be around someone and not worry about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just the freedom to not worry about, oh, what happens if I do this, whatever. They just have that freedom, and I liked that. But yeah, they all get back together, and that's kind of where Brainiac is like, okay, time to step in here, because obviously this is not what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like both Kara and Superman get hit with kryptonite a lot in this
They do.
stretch, where I was to the point of me being like, oh, all right, all right, one of them has to die. I know they're not going to, but I'm like, seems like a lot of kryptonite and brain control.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so who does he? Yeah, he ultimately ends up controlling Superman.
Yes.
That's the body he wanted to get into, and he did it. And what is it called again? Like the Black something?
Mercy.
Yeah, Black Mercy is what he puts Kara in.
Yeah.
I don't remember how they break.
And gets Lois into that at some point too.
Lois is the more important one. Yes.
Yes.
Because at one point he has Superman incapacitated at one point too. Because I remember there's that element of him being like, well, no, this is. Oh, they're both in some kind of other realm of existence while she's in the Black Mercy and he's under, because she finally meets Superman, because she breaks free of the brainwashing in that, and she gets to Superman, and he's like, well, this isn't Lois Lane, because she would abandon me, and I'm like, jeez.
Yeah. Rough stuff there, bud. For sure.
Which was, I liked, because he hadn't really vocalized what he felt about the breakup.
Right.
And so that was you knew he didn't want to think about it when he's like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about this. But to have him say that under whatever, but still kind of like, that's in there somewhere in him. That's what he's thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like the whole idea of the Black Mercy device, where it's just like, hey, we're just going to basically rewrite your history and make you remember this differently.
What we want you to remember.
Stuff. Yeah, it's
just like the Matrix. Like,
it's very much like the Matrix. And I like the fact
I feel like it's painful, probably.
I can't really tell, but I just like the fact that Lois is like, yeah, I'm going to go in too, kind of like the Void thing. In Thunderbolts, where it's like, I'm going into to reach my person and talk him out of it and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, yeah, that works really, really well in this, actually.
Except for when she gets rebuffed with the whole...
Correct.
Well, I know you're not really Lois, because Lois would just abandon me, and I was like, oh, that's sad. That's
at least they were being honest with each other at that point.
Yeah, she still snaps him out of it, but
yes,
I think she goes back for a second round, but like, initially she's kind of like, whoa. Wasn't ready for that. Yeah, then they get new suits, which you alluded to. First Superman. How did that happen? Just like he rewrote their suits or something? Brainiac?
Yeah, so I don't know. Brainiac's got
I saw it happening. I'm like, I don't feel like I wasn't looking at the screen. I don't know why he has a new suit.
I was watching it happen, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. I just love a suit upgrade.
I like that it happened, but I was like, I don't really understand how this happened. Now, I'm currently reading the Absolute Superman. If it was Absolute Superman, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. His suit is like his cape in particular is like a living organism that could make things look different. But I'm like, this is just regular Superman, isn't it? Like, what? Why is this? Even with Kara, I was like, I don't know. She was wearing something else. It makes sense to me that this could turn into something else later, and it does. But I'm like, I don't get the Superman thing, other than I guess he was wearing the same thing she was wearing. So
yeah, it was. I think it's just the uniform, the Brainiac uniform and all that, because it's got his branding all over it, right? The three dots, circles connected and all that kind of stuff. So it is his uniform for his army, and I'm like, that's cool. It's a dark suit, but like basically in episode 10, where they like break out of his control and they both get their own upgraded suits and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, this is sick. I don't even care how this works,
Yeah.
how this makes sense. I'm like, this is sick. It's so cool.
But while that's happening, before that happens, it's just, everyone's afraid of Superman, and everyone's like, see, I knew this motherfucker was gonna do this to us. Amanda Waller's like, my time to shine. This is perfect. And I don't even know where she was before this, but she just kind of like comes out of hiding, like, I'm ready. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. Obviously doesn't work out for her, and Brainiac kind of has to take over once Superman breaks out of it, snaps out of it, I should say. And then there's like a moment where everyone is fighting Brainiac, and I like that like Jimmy at one point calls Livewire and their friends, and she's like, whoa, look, we don't want Earth to die. I don't know if we could say we're friends.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that, because it would be weird if they were just friends all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They did some fucked up things to them in season 1. I don't know, you could just go to being friends.
Yeah.
But it meant that even like Amanda was fighting with, like, not side by side with them, but was on the same side as them for a portion of the last episode, with her getting mad at Lex. And I'm like, I wonder why this has never come up before. Where she's like, shut them down, and Lex like, it isn't my fault that you asked for an unbeatable army. Like, that's what this is. You can't beat them. And I was like, that is sound logic.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, just an element of him being like, I mean, I delivered. You're not going to be able to shut them down. This is what you wanted.
Yeah, it was well done. It was well done. I like Lex in that moment. It's like, hey, I gave what you wanted.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
And then Sam comes back, and I was like, I know he was like captured by Amanda, but it all kind of just fell flat for me. I'm like, all right, great.
Yeah.
He's back now.
Yeah.
He saves Amanda, she saves him.
Yep.
But then doesn't she try to like take him right back to jail or whatever custody he was in?
I can't entirely remember, to be
Because
perfectly
they do the
honest.
whole Sam, Mandy. Calling Amanda Waller Mandy, I feel like is
It's weird.
unforgivable. I don't like.
I don't like it.
Amanda Waller needs to be very specific. I'm not saying she shouldn't have friends, even though that is kind of her thing. Is like, I don't have friends, I have leverage. But the Mandy thing, I'm like, no, that needed to stay in season 1. I don't like it.
It's you know what though? I like it as a power move. Because it's like when I call doctors by their first names. It's so
That's why
fun.
I'm saying he needed to not do that, because he doesn't have power. She's already proved she's more powerful than him.
Yes.
He doesn't have the power over her. So then it becomes more like, I'm going to put this black woman in her place. The optics of it aren't good.
The optics of it is very, very coded in male insecurity and pulling rank and all that shit, and him, you know, like you said, pointing out,
Which I don't think the show wants to do.
No, it doesn't.
I think they just want to be like, see, they're friends. At the end of the day, they're still friends. And I'm
right?
like, no, they're not. Like, that's not. You can't imprison me, and then I'm just gonna go back to calling you Mandy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because at that point it's just like, okay, if you're gonna be friends, then do the Mandy thing. But if you're not, then you should definitely be like Waller, like make it professional.
There needs to be an element of him recognizing, oh, you're Amanda Waller. You're not my Mandy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's whatever. I just felt like he's back, but like at this point, do we like? I'm happy for Lois, her dad's back, but I don't. It doesn't mean anything to me as the viewer, really.
No, it really doesn't. Except for the fact that it's like, oh, great, he doesn't have to live in that in Clark and Jimmy's house anymore.
Like, does he not?
I guess.
I really don't know where it leaves him. I'm not even saying that because I know. I'm just like, I don't even know where this leaves him.
Yeah, neither do I. But honestly, I don't really care that much.
Normally,
about his
I like Sam Lane as a character, but I just don't feel it for this Sam Lane.
The only time I've liked Sam Lane has been in Superman and Lois, because I'm just like, all right, cool. You quit your job and now you're being a grandpa. You're being a good supportive person. Like you code switched real fast. That was really, really cool. But in this, I'm just like, you're still the general. I don't care about you.
But they've removed any like authority he has. So even if he's not doing what Superman and Lois did, which is great, but it's also over the course of 4 seasons.
Yes.
you're still like, oh, that's like the guy who made Lois who she is, and this season does show you flashbacks and all of that, but it's like, but that's over now, and now they just seem to have a relatively open relationship. As when I say open, I don't see a need for her to be like, I need to be tough around him and never show him emotion. It just seems like you could probably say whatever you need to say to this guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that authority, so he's not as interesting of a character for me to be like, oh, he haunts her still. It's like you literally are just haunted by the memory of him, because in practice it seems like you've got a good enough relationship.
Yeah,
where you're like, yeah, you can just live with my boyfriend. And I don't think it's weird, and I don't think the characters think it's that weird either. Whereas if he was like the Sam Lane that like still had this control over Lois and made her act out of character, then that would at least be something.
Yeah, this is it definitely felt more like, because there was that flashback at some point where she's
like mad at him because he's like, I showed you how to like use your, she's like, can you just be my dad? What are you doing? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
I was scared. I thought you died.
It feels like because he's so army coded, it was just like, all right, you passed your whatever level of training, I trust you now as a whatever, and you know, all that kind of stuff.
That's the wording. Now I trust you. Yeah, that's the wording he uses.
It's messed up, but I mean, like, it makes sense for him being in the military and all that kind of stuff. It's like,
but
that's what
like
he does all
when she
day.
was a kid. It's like it's this weird thing where like that's not your dynamic now.
It isn't. But you know what? Childhood trauma follows you. It is a thing, but it is a weird dynamic that they still have.
I think for TV, kid or adult, it is, I think, too big of an ask to be like, he's not really doing that now, and that's still haunting her. You kind of have to be like, if he's not gonna be like that, then he shouldn't really be interacting with her as much for us to see that that's not really an issue anymore.
True.
It should be something that has followed her, even if other people are like, no, he's not that bad, and you can be like, hey, you don't know her relationship with her dad. But it's like, I think I do know what the relationship is, and it seems like they don't have that friction anymore.
Well, I mean, the good news is after episode 4, they basically he's gone from the season, so we don't get that much interaction with the two of them together. Which, to your point, for a kids show, that kind of works. But at the end of the day, the criticism is like, yeah, why'd they do that? But
I mean, to be fair, I could pay attention more to the show. It did keep my attention way more than season 1, but still,
I was definitely on my phone a lot less than this, but especially when the Supergirl stuff happened, I'm just like, man, this is a cool angle that they wrote for Kara, and it's just a cool angle in general where she thinks Brainiac is her father, and then also I genuinely was like, oh, they redid the whole this is the reason why Krypton died thing, because they put it all on Brainiac in this. And I'm just like, that's kind of cool, especially for what Brainiac was coming from a Kryptonian kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, I like this. This is not the Superman that I know, but it's still the characterization of the Superman that I know. So it's kind of fun to me. I like it.
I mean, I don't know that Brainiac worked for me in this, but I think I would be in the glaring minority for that. I feel like this is a good representation of him, but it's just like, I think because he didn't look humanoid, I was just like, I don't, this isn't really my style of bad guy in general, like regardless. So this isn't me being like, hey, like that's not the Brainiac I know. It was just more like, I just don't really care about him.
I'm a big fan of it. But specifically for that reason of like, yeah, his eyes are not the anime eyes and all that kind of stuff. I can take him more seriously as a villain. That's why I loved his design in this so much. Like, when I'm assuming in season 3 where they ultimately shift to Lex, I'm like, this is going to be a problem again for me.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, as I said, like, I thought someone else was going to come out of that suit until they were like, no, that's Primus Brainiac. I'm like, oh, it's just this. I wish he had a face. And that's a me problem. I'm not saying that makes the show bad or him bad.
Right.
It just didn't work for me because I kind of need some kind of connection there with the facial cues.
Fair enough.
And that just wasn't there. And I still really haven't warmed to Jack Quaid as Superman.
Yes. I don't like it.
I understand he's supposed to be young, so they have a lot of leeway there. Like, this is a Superman that doesn't even know that he gets his powers from the sun. And in season 1, he's like, oh, I don't know, can I fly or can I get hit by something?
Yeah.
So it's whatever, but I want more bass in his voice for whatever reason.
I very much agree with that. Like, yes, like
they draw him so skinny, and maybe that's it too. That they draw him so skinny that, because I would argue David Cornsweet sounds similar enough to him in terms of lack of bass, but like he doesn't look as scrawny, so it just feels like, yeah, that's Superman.
Yeah. And like they remind you even in this season that it's just like, yeah, he's figuring out his powers. Like he figures out that he gets the ice breath thing in this season,
and he does that thing which I haven't seen in other Superman iterations. I'm not saying it's not, where he kind of just like electrifies. And even Kara's like, wait, how did you do that? And he's like, I don't know. Whenever I need to save someone I care about, that happens. And I'm like, what is this? What's happening here? I've never seen it before, so I was just
like, okay.
So I was just like, that probably is. This seems like a show that likes to do deep cut stuff, so that has most likely appeared in something. But
hey,
as a non-Superman fan, and I keep saying that I don't want it to sound as negative as it sounds. What I'm trying to get across is I don't have some encyclopedic knowledge of Superman that way. That's what I mean when he's not my guy. It's just like, I don't know. So if you present me with something that makes sense to me, I'm like, oh, it's probably something that's been in there before.
Yeah, like I'm very much on the same page with you. The only Superman lore thing that I'm just like, wait, what? Do that again? Is from the movies, and I forget which one he does this. I think it's Superman 2, where he takes the logo off his chest and throws it at Zod. And I'm like, that's so silly. Please make him do that in other things too. It's so silly to me. Oh man, but it's at this point you can be like, oh, in this edition of Superman he has this power and all this kind of stuff, and I would believe anyone that says that, because I don't know Superman well enough. He's written to this all powerful person, so what you're saying makes enough sense to me. Yeah. I'm not going to care enough to fact check you on it. So
I certainly didn't fact check. I just was like, it's probably there somewhere. I don't know. If it's not, then cool. They made something up for the show. We didn't mention there's a bunch of other like super characters. Like Steel is in this season.
Yeah, that was fun.
He helps out at the end.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Hank Henshaw is in it. Was that Cyborg Superman? It was a bad guy, like actively dislikes Superman, and I like that they planted that even when he's on the panel in the Bachelor thing, where he's like, "Why? Like, why are you even here?" And I'm like, "Yes, continue this because I know where you're going." So this is good. And then other characters, but I was, when they initially were like, "Hey, it's Dr. Henry Irons," I'm like, "This guy better be Steel, or I'm gonna be pissed off." And then he is Steel by the end of it.
Yeah. That was sick. I like that, because I thought I'm like, are they gonna do Cyborg? Because they had Silas Stone in there.
Yeah, he's like the first thing in the season.
Yeah,
like, oh, here, we saved you, Silas Stone. I'm like, hey, I know whose dad that is.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, oh.
But then they move on to Henry Irons. I'm like, oh, now I care about this more because this is more directly Superman, so this better happen.
Yeah, I just think, okay, I do think I will. I'm a little upset about the suit, in the sense where I'm like, why would you?
If I'm being honest, I don't like the look of anything in this show.
It
is a huge hurdle for me. Is that I just look at the suit and go, not for me.
So,
and I know people like this look, but I'm just like, this is just not for me.
I like the look. I'm just like, this is a huge design flaw that you didn't put a helmet on.
You're so open to just get hit right in the chest.
Yeah, it's just like everything else is. Literally everything else is under a suit of armor, and you leave your head exposed. I know get
people can't
why,
see me, but like from here up, he's just ready to get killed.
Yeah, it just makes
like
no
from his
sense to me.
Shoulders up, like even a little lower than his shoulders. He's just open to the elements.
Yeah, sure, like what? Because when we get to episode 10 and he's involved in that final fight, I'm like, surely they're gonna show us that the suit actually has a retractable helmet that
To be
protects his
fair, they
head.
show him after he's done his heroic thing, so we don't really know what he looks like when he's doing heroics.
No,
It's kind of,
we do. We do.
I just remember him just coming out of it and talking to people.
No, I remember in episode 10, he's very much
Yeah, he's
like,
only
all
in
right,
episode 10 is Steel. Yeah,
yeah, and then he's like, oh yeah, we'll go fight, and then along with the Task Force X, goes up there and like destroys all the robots that
oh right, yes,
basically
yes,
have the
yes.
kryptonite and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you got to I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He doesn't have a helmet? This is stupid. Like, it's his freaking head. It makes no sense that he'd have armor everywhere else except his head.
Yeah, either he doesn't need the armor or he does.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, no, this is a huge design flaw. Put the thing, and I obviously know they did it so that they could show facial expressions and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, no,
They wanted to help me. Yeah.
it's stupid. I hate it.
No, you just got to do the heads-up display thing like Iron Man.
Very
if,
much
if
so.
you want to show his face.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, or do the thing that they did with what's his face, Kang, where it's like, oh, part of his helmet
No,
is
don't
like
do
like a freaking force field thing.
No, don't do that. Because it's just
a
a force field, and I'd be like, you still could get hit through that.
they could explain it somehow. I don't know, but
Why? No, the character doesn't need that. The character just has a steel face. So
The
why,
point
why
is-
even mess with that?
yes, the point is, give him a freaking helmet. Like,
Yeah.
God, that was dumb to me. I was just like, this is so dumb. But I'm like, at least we got steel, and I do
Yeah.
like myself some steel.
It's good. I feel like we're missing a lot of stuff, but in the end, Lois does not accept the thing from Lois Lane, and I do like this carryover from season 1 of her being like, I looked up to her, and now I realize I don't want to be the second version of her. I want to be the first Lois Lane. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Good for you, Lois.
And they get back together. Lois and Clark are back together.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I like that this season tested their relationship and they got on the other end of all those insecurities.
Yeah.
I'm sure other stuff can test them, but the initial insecurities, I'm glad they took a season to work that out.
Yeah. It was, the way they did it was really, really good. It made a lot of sense to me without it being like, oh, this is like one of those manipulation tactics where it's like, leave him and then see how much he works for you to get back. It wasn't
No,
anything
she
like
worked
that.
to get back to him.
Yes, exactly. It was all these things, especially because I like what you said about the aspect of how like everyone is hiding something, and that's the ultimate flaw about the downfall of this season. Is this like Lois is hiding the thing with Vicky Vale, and then Superman's hiding the thing with Kara, and all that kind of stuff. And it's
And they
just
have to just say it to each other. Like, he's like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, I didn't get to talk to you about it, but I called my cousin. And she's like,
Mhm.
oh, and I got a job offer to move. Because at one
Yeah.
point he's like, oh, yeah, I'll just move with you. Oh, I guess that's the end. That's the end of it when they're back together. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll just move to Gotham with you. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not going. I'll be Lois .1. I don't need to be Vicky Vale
Vicky
.2.
Vale 2.0. Yeah, that is a very, very good message to leave kids with.
Mhm.
Don't try to do someone else's thing. Do your own thing.
Yeah, you can be inspired by people, but
Yeah.
hopefully it inspires you to do your own thing.
Yeah, don't try to be a carbon copy. Just
Yeah.
do your own version of it. Inspire it and all that kind of stuff. Have multiple inspiration points, kids. And
Yeah.
also don't listen to me because I'm not built for that.
Definitely good to diversify your inspirations, especially in a world with Epstein files. Don't-
Yep,
Don't hold anybody too closely or dearly.
that's right.
All right. Well, on that note, do you want to rate it or do you want to talk some more about this?
No, let's rate this thing.
All
Let's
right.
rate this thing.
I'm going to give it a 7.5. The visuals are a thing that I have to deal with on my own. They aren't bad. I'm not trying to say they're objectively bad. They don't work for me.
Mhm.
And there's just some things that always nits that I have to pick with it.
Fair enough. I'm at an 8.
Nice.
There's the biggest thing that I could think of was the fact that episode 6 and episode 7, I'm just like, this feels a little bit out of place. Like, they could swap with each other and we wouldn't have the whole issue with episode 7 being like, oh, we know where you get to because we saw that in episode 6.
Sure. Yeah.
But even then, it's not a big
They
deal.
still got
It's
an
just,
8 out of you.
yeah, I see what they were trying to do. I'm just like, yeah, but you did the very next episode. That's not really... It's not really the suspense that you were hoping it to be, but whatever. Yeah, no, they still got me. This is a lot better. I like this really, really well. We'll see what happens with season 3, because if it is Lex, and he's got those freaking eyes and that stupid haircut,
He's gonna have a bunch of robots for you to enjoy.
yeah, I need him to go bald, because that hair is too anime for me. I don't like it.
It's definitely anime. There's no doubt about that. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. You can go to tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten and find all the different ways to interact with us, including our handles on social media. So that's at TDFSpoiled on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, Lemonade. You can email us, spoiledpodcast@gmail.com. You can also go on your podcast platform of choice, rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends, follow, do all that great stuff. And yeah, we'll be back. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.